I just told my childhood best friend Emma that I won't be her bridesmaid anymore, and now half our friend group thinks I'm being a selfish drama queen. But honestly, I think she's completely lost her mind with this wedding planning. Before you judge me, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. I really need to know if I'm crazy here. Also, drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I'm curious where all of you are. So, Emma and I have been best friends since we were literally 7 years old. We grew up together, went to the same college, were roommates for 3 years, and I was there when she met Jake 4 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue. I'm talking about the kind of friendship where we know each other's deepest secrets, have matching tattoos from our 21st birthday trip to Miami, and always said we'd be each other's maid of honor someday. When Jake proposed to Emma last October at this gorgeous vineyard, I cried happy tears for like 2 hours straight. She FaceTimed me from the vineyard because she wanted me to be one of the first people to know. The next morning, she came over to my apartment with coffee and pastries, and that's when she officially asked me to be her maid of honor. I obviously said yes immediately, and we spent the whole day looking at wedding inspiration on Pinterest and talking about how magical everything was going to be. The wedding is planned for next June, so about 7 months away. Emma's been engaged for a year now, and for the first 6 months, wedding planning was actually really fun. We'd have these Wedding Wednesdays, where all the bridesmaids, there are 5 of us total, would meet up at Emma's place, drink wine, and help her make decisions about flowers, venues, color schemes, all that stuff. Emma seemed pretty chill about most things. She chose a beautiful dusty rose color for our bridesmaid dresses and let us pick our own styles as long as they were in that color family. She was flexible about shoes, just wanted them to be nude or metallic. Everything seemed totally reasonable and normal. But then about 3 months ago, something shifted. Emma started getting really intense about the aesthetic of her wedding. She'd made this incredibly detailed Pinterest board called Emma's Perfect Day that had like 600 pins on it, and she started talking about her vision constantly. She wanted everything to be this very specific, romantic, ethereal, whimsical vibe. Lots of flowing fabrics, soft colors, delicate flowers, that whole thing. I have very long hair. Like really long. It goes down to my waist. I've been growing it out for 6 years now after I donated 14 inches to charity when I was 21. My hair is naturally thick, dark auburn, and has these natural waves that people always compliment me on. I'm not trying to sound conceited, but my hair is kind of my thing. It's part of my identity. I take really good care of it, use expensive products, get regular trims to keep it healthy, the whole 9 yards. Multiple people have told me I should be in hair commercials. It sounds silly, but my hair makes me feel confident and beautiful. 2 months ago, Emma sent the bridesmaids group chat a message saying she wanted to schedule a meeting to discuss hair and makeup for the wedding. She'd hired this high-end stylist named Valentina, who apparently does weddings for semi-celebrities and wealthy clients. Valentina charged $400 per person for hair and makeup, which honestly was already more than I wanted to spend, but I agreed because Emma's my best friend and it was important to her. We all met at this fancy salon in downtown where Valentina works. The salon was one of those ultra-modern places with all-white furniture and abstract art on the walls. Kind of intimidating, honestly. Valentina had us sit down, and she started showing us inspiration photos of the hairstyles she was thinking for each bridesmaid. Most of the styles were these romantic updos with soft curls and braids. They actually looked really pretty. Then Valentina got to me. She pulled up a photo on her iPad and said, "For you, I'm thinking we do this elegant shoulder-length style with soft waves and maybe a small braid detail on one side." The girl in the photo had hair that hit just below her shoulders, probably 14-16 inches shorter than mine. I kind of laughed nervously and said, "Oh, that's pretty, but I'm not cutting my hair. Can't we do an updo with my length?" That's when Emma jumped in. She had this really serious expression on her face and said, "Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. I really need you to cut your hair for the wedding." I literally thought she was joking at first. I said, "What? Emma, come on. Be serious." But she was serious. She said, and I quote, "I'm completely serious. The aesthetic I'm going for doesn't work with super long hair. It's too dramatic and takes too much attention. I need all my bridesmaids to have a cohesive look, and everyone else's hair is between shoulder and collarbone length. You're going to stand out in a bad way and throw off the whole vibe of my photos." I just stared at her. The other bridesmaids, Jess, 29F, Riley, 27F, Monica, 26F, and Emma's cousin Sarah, 25F, all looked super uncomfortable. Riley even said, "Emma, that seems like a big ask." But Emma cut her off and said, "It's my wedding. This day is about me. Is it really too much to ask for my best friend to make one sacrifice so that my wedding photos are perfect?" Hair grows back. I felt my face getting hot. I said, "Emma, you're asking me to cut off like 1.5 feet of hair that I've been growing for 6 years. That's not a small sacrifice. That's a huge deal." Emma rolled her eyes. She actually rolled her eyes at me and said, "Oh my God, it's just hair. Don't be so dramatic. You're acting like I'm asking you to shave your head. Lots of people would kill to have a professional stylist. Give them a makeover. You should be grateful." Grateful? I should be grateful that she wants me to chop off my hair? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked at Valentina, hoping she might back me up, but she just had this neutral expression and said, "Many brides do request that their bridal party maintain a certain look for aesthetic cohesion." I felt so ganged up on. I told Emma, "I need to think about this." And she got this tight smile on her face and said, "Well, don't think too long. Valentina needs to plan out her styling schedule, and if you're not going to cooperate, I need to know now." I left the salon feeling completely blindsided. On the drive home, Monica actually called me and said, "Hey, I just want you to know that what Emma's asking is completely unreasonable. I wouldn't cut my hair either if I were you." That made me feel a little bit validated, but I was still in shock. That night, I texted Emma and said we needed to talk. She replied, "If you're going to tell me you won't cut your hair, save it. I already know you're being difficult about this." Difficult? Me? I was furious. I called her instead of texting back, and we had this huge argument. I told her that asking me to cut my hair was crossing a major line, and that no wedding aesthetic was worth asking someone to alter their physical appearance in a permanent way. She said I was being selfish and making her wedding about me. She said, "Do you know how many women would jump at the chance to be in my wedding? If you can't do this one thing for me on the most important day of my life, then maybe you're not really my best friend." That hurt. Like, really hurt. I started crying and said, "How can you say that to me? We've been friends for 20 years, and you're going to question our entire friendship over hair?" Emma's voice got really cold. She said, "It's not about the hair. It's about you not supporting me and making everything difficult. First you complained about the cost of the dress, then you said the bachelorette party dates were inconvenient, and now this. You've been negative about everything." For the record, I didn't complain about the dress cost. I just asked if there was any flexibility in the budget when she initially said the dresses would be $400 each, which is objectively expensive. And I didn't say the bachelorette party dates were inconvenient. I simply mentioned that I already had a work conference scheduled for one of the proposed weekends, so I asked if we could consider a different weekend. Apparently asking reasonable questions equals being difficult now. We ended the call without resolving anything. She said she'd give me some time to think about what's really important and hung up. I cried for like an hour. My roommate Tara, 26F, heard me sobbing and came to check on me, and when I told her what happened, she looked at me like Emma had lost her mind. Over the next few days, I did a lot of thinking. I talked to my mom, my sister, some other friends who aren't involved in the wedding. Every single person I talked to said the same thing. Emma's request is completely unreasonable, and I shouldn't cut my hair if I don't want to. My sister, 31F, actually had some really good insight. She said, "This isn't really about your hair. This is about control. Emma's stressed about the wedding, and she's trying to control every single detail, including other people's bodies. That's not okay." That really resonated with me. I started thinking about some of Emma's other behavior over the past few months. She'd made several comments about my hair before this whole wedding thing. Little remarks like, "Don't you ever want to try a different look?" Or, "Long hair is so high maintenance, aren't you tired of it?" At the time, I just brushed them off, but now I'm wondering if she's been bothered by my hair for a while, and the wedding is just giving her an excuse to say something. There was also this incident at her engagement party back in December. I wore a burgundy velvet dress that I'd bought specifically for the party. It was elegant and festive, but not too flashy. Emma pulled me aside at one point and said, "That dress is really beautiful, but maybe you could have worn something a little less attention-grabbing. This party is supposed to be about me and Jake." I was so confused because the dress was totally appropriate, and multiple other people there were wearing equally nice outfits. But I apologized and said I didn't mean to take attention away from her. At the time, I thought maybe I was being oversensitive, but now I'm seeing a pattern. A week after our phone fight, Emma texted me, "Have you made your decision about the hair situation? I need to confirm everything with Valentina by the end of this week." I responded, "I'm not cutting my hair. I'm sorry, but that's my final answer. I'm happy to do whatever updo or hairstyle works with my current length, but I'm not getting 16 plus inches cut off." She replied, "Wow, I guess I know where I stand in your life. If you can't do this for me, then I don't want you in my wedding at all. You're out." I literally had to read that message 3 times to make sure I understood correctly. She was UN-friending me from her wedding because I wouldn't cut my hair? I replied, "Are you serious? You're kicking me out of your wedding over this?" Emma, "You're kicking yourself out by refusing to be a team player. I need bridesmaids who are going to support my vision, not fight me every step of the way. Riley already said she'd be happy to step up as maid of honor." That stung. Riley was supposed to be just a regular bridesmaid, and now she was getting promoted to maid of honor, my position, just like that. And Riley agreed to this? I was so angry and hurt that I didn't even reply. I just left her on read. Part of me hoped she'd realize how ridiculous she was being and apologize, but days went by and nothing. Radio silence. Then about 4 days later, Jess called me. She said, "I don't know if anyone's told you this yet, but Emma's telling people that you bailed on being her bridesmaid because you're jealous of her relationship with Jake and didn't want to see her get married." I was floored. That is completely 100% false. I have zero romantic interest in Jake. He's a nice guy, but absolutely not my type. I'm actually seeing someone, kind of casually, but still. The idea that I'm jealous of Emma's relationship is completely insane. I asked Jess who Emma was saying this to, and apparently she'd been venting to a bunch of people from our extended friend group. Jess said, "She's making you sound like a terrible friend who abandoned her. She's not mentioning the hair thing at all." So not only did Emma kick me out of the wedding, but now she's spreading lies about why I'm not in it anymore. I was so furious I was shaking. I decided I needed to tell my side of the story before Emma completely destroyed my reputation. I posted a pretty vague Facebook status that said something like, "It's sad when you realize someone would rather lose a 20-year friendship than compromise on superficial wedding details. I hope all the perfect photos are worth it." I didn't name Emma, but it was pretty obvious who I was talking about. Within 2 hours, my phone was blowing up. Emma called me screaming, literally screaming, that I was trying to ruin her wedding and turn people against her. She said I was being vindictive and immature by airing our private business on social media. I said, "You've been telling people I'm jealous and a bad friend. At least I'm telling the truth." Emma said, "I never said you were jealous. I said you were being unsupportive, which is true. And now you're trying to make me look like the bad guy when all I've done is try to plan my dream wedding." We screamed at each other for probably 10 minutes before she hung up on me. About an hour later, she posted her own Facebook status, this one not vague at all. She wrote, "It's amazing how someone can pretend to be your best friend for years and then abandon you during the most important event of your life over something as minor as a haircut. I asked my MOH to get a stylish shoulder-length cut for aesthetic cohesion with my other bridesmaids, something that's completely normal for weddings, and she refused and quit being my bridesmaid. Then she tried to trash me on social media. I guess I know who my real friends are now. To everyone who's actually supporting me and excited for my big day, thank you. I love you all." The comments on her post were mixed. Some people were defending her and saying things like, "It's your day, you deserve to have everything perfect," and "a real friend would make the sacrifice." But other people were commenting things like, "Wait, you asked her to cut her hair? That does seem extreme," and "I don't think I'd cut my hair for a wedding either, TBH. Jake, Emma's fiancé, even commented on the post, "Let's keep our personal issues offline, please. This isn't helping anything." Which I thought was interesting. It seemed like maybe even he thought Emma was going too far. My phone was getting notifications constantly. Friends from high school, college, work, distant acquaintances. Everyone was weighing in. Some people were DMing me asking for my side of the story. Others were sending me screenshots of group chats where people were discussing the drama. Riley sent me a long text message that basically said she felt really caught in the middle, that she understood why I didn't want to cut my hair, but that Emma was her friend too and she didn't want to take sides. She said she accepted the maid of honor position because Emma was really struggling emotionally and needed someone to step up. I told Riley I understood, but that I was hurt she hadn't even called to check on me through all of this. She apologized and said she didn't know what to say. Monica, on the other hand, completely had my back. She told Emma straight up that she thought the hair demand was ridiculous. According to Monica, Emma responded by saying, "Well, if you feel that way, maybe you shouldn't be in my wedding either." Monica said, "Fine by me," and quit. So now Emma's lost 2 bridesmaids over this. Emma's mom, Patricia, 56F, called me a few days after all the social media drama. Patricia has always been really sweet to me. She used to call me her second daughter when we were growing up. She sounded exhausted on the phone. She said, "Sweetie, I love Emma with all my heart, but I think she's gotten lost in all this wedding planning. What she's asking of you isn't fair. I tried to talk to her about it, but she won't listen to me. She just keeps saying, 'You don't understand, it's my day.'" I asked Patricia if Emma had always been this controlling, and I'd just never noticed, or if this was new behavior. Patricia sighed and said, "Wedding planning brings out interesting sides of people. The stress, the pressure, the expectations. It can turn even the most level-headed person into someone you don't recognize. But between you and me, Emma's always had a bit of a competitive streak. She doesn't like when other people get more attention than her. That last comment really stuck with me. Was Emma threatened by my hair because she thought it would take attention away from her on her wedding day? That seemed so shallow and insecure, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Now here we are, about 3 weeks after Emma kicked me out of the wedding. We haven't spoken since our screaming match on the phone. I've gotten texts from some of our mutual friends saying things like, "This is so sad, you two need to work it out." But honestly, I don't even know if I want to work it out at this point. Emma showed me a side of herself that I find really ugly. The entitlement, the manipulation, the lies she spread about me, the way she's willing to throw away 20 years of friendship because I won't alter my physical appearance for her wedding photos. It's all just too much. My mom thinks I should try to reconcile because friendships are precious and you'll regret losing her. My sister thinks Emma owes me a massive apology, and unless that happens, the friendship is dead. I'm somewhere in between. Part of me misses my best friend. Part of me is so angry I never want to see her again. The wedding is still 6 months away. I didn't get officially uninvited as a guest, but there's no way in hell I'm going. Especially not after Emma told people I'm jealous of her relationship. So, am I the villain here? Should I have just cut my hair to keep the peace? Was I being selfish by putting my personal preferences over her wedding vision? Or was Emma completely out of line for asking me to make such a permanent change to my appearance? The weeks following my removal from Emma's wedding party turned into an absolute nightmare that I never could have predicted. About 5 days after our last conversation, Emma's fiancé Jake reached out to me directly. He sent me a text that said, "Hey, can we talk? I think there's been a lot of miscommunication and I want to understand what really happened." I was hesitant at first because I didn't know whose side he was on, but I agreed to meet him for coffee. We met at this neutral cafe halfway between our apartments. Jake looked tired, like he hadn't been sleeping well. He ordered a black coffee, and we sat down at a corner table. He started by saying, "Look, I love Emma, but I'm not blind to what's been going on. She told me you refused to cut your hair for the wedding, and that's why you're not in the bridal party anymore." I nodded and said, "That's accurate. Did she tell you she demanded I cut it, like 16 inches off?" Jake rubbed his face and sighed. "She framed it differently to me. She said you were being difficult about all the wedding stuff and the hair was just the final straw. But her mom called me last week and gave me a very different version of events. She said Emma's being unreasonable and controlling." That conversation with Jake was actually really eye-opening. He told me that Emma had been incredibly stressed about the wedding and that she'd been having meltdowns every few days about different details not being perfect. He said, "Last week she cried for 2 hours because the napkins came in the wrong shade of pink. They looked identical to me, but apparently they were blush instead of dusty rose, and she said it was going to ruin everything." I asked him point blank, "Do you think it's reasonable for her to ask me to cut my hair?" Jake looked uncomfortable but said, "Honestly, no. I told her I thought that was taking things too far, but she got really defensive and said I didn't understand her vision and that I was supposed to be supporting her, not undermining her." He paused and then added, "Between you and me, I'm starting to wonder if we should postpone the wedding. She's not acting like herself." That shocked me. I asked if he was having second thoughts about marrying her, and he said, "I love who Emma is normally. But wedding Emma is someone I don't recognize. She's become obsessed with perfection to the point where she's destroying relationships and making herself miserable. That's not the woman I proposed to. We talked for almost 2 hours. Jake apologized for Emma's behavior and said he was going to try to talk some sense into her. I appreciated that, but I told him I wasn't holding my breath. When we left the cafe, he hugged me and said, "For what it's worth, I think you're making the right choice. Your hair is beautiful, and you shouldn't have to change yourself for anyone." I thought maybe Jake talking to Emma would help. I was wrong. 2 days after my coffee with Jake, I got a nasty message from Emma. She wrote, "I can't believe you went behind my back to talk to my fiancé and try to turn him against me. Jake came home yesterday questioning whether we should postpone the wedding. Do you have any idea how humiliating and hurtful that is? You're actively trying to sabotage my relationship now. You really are jealous, aren't you? This is so much worse than I thought." I was furious. I replied, "Jake reached out to me. I didn't go behind your back, and if he's questioning the wedding, maybe that's because of your behavior, not mine. I've never done anything to sabotage you. You're the one who kicked me out of your wedding and then lied about me to our friends." Emma, you're manipulating him. You've always been jealous that I found someone, and you're still single and bouncing between random guys. You can't stand that I'm happy. That one really hurt. I've been casually seeing someone named David, 29 for about 3 months. It's not serious yet, but it's going well. The fact that Emma would throw my dating life in my face like that, as if being single or casually dating is something to be ashamed of, was just cruel. Me, this has nothing to do with your relationship. This is about you demanding I cut my hair and then kicking me out when I said no. Stop making this into something it's not. Emma, everything is always about you, isn't it? Poor you with your perfect hair that's so much more important than your best friend's happiness. I hope you and your hair are very happy together since that's apparently your priority. I stopped responding after that. There was no point. She was being completely irrational, but then things escalated even further. Emma created a private Facebook group called Emma's Wedding Celebration Squad. Yes, really. And added all her bridesmaids, her family members, and a bunch of our mutual friends. I obviously wasn't added to it, but Monica screenshot some of the posts and sent them to me. One post from Emma said, "I'm so grateful for all of you who are supporting me through this difficult time. It's been really hard losing someone I thought was my best friend, but it's shown me who my real friends are. Riley has been absolutely amazing stepping up as MOH, and I know my day is going to be perfect with people around me who actually care about my happiness." Riley commented, "So excited to be by your side on your special day. You deserve all the happiness in the world," with like 5 heart emojis. There were dozens of comments from people saying supportive things to Emma. Her aunt wrote, "Anyone who can't make a small sacrifice for your wedding day doesn't deserve to be in your life." Emma's cousin Sarah commented, "Some people are just too selfish to see beyond themselves." But here's where it gets interesting. Someone, I don't know who, screenshot Emma's original Facebook post, the one where she publicly called me out, and posted it in a wedding shaming group on Reddit. The post got thousands of comments, and they were overwhelmingly on my side. Comments like, "Asking someone to cut their hair for your wedding is psychotic bride behavior. Hair takes years to grow. This bride is completely out of line. I'd drop this friend so fast. What an entitled Bridezilla. The audacity to demand someone permanently alter their appearance for your photos is beyond comprehension." Someone from our town recognized the story and shared the Reddit thread in a local Facebook group. That's how it started spreading to more people in our community. Suddenly, people who weren't even directly involved were messaging me saying they'd seen the story online and thought Emma was being ridiculous. Emma found out about the Reddit post and absolutely lost it. She posted in her private wedding group, "Someone has shared my personal business on Reddit and people are attacking me. If any of you are responsible for this or are sharing details about my wedding outside this group, you're out. I will not tolerate betrayal." She also posted publicly, "To whoever is spreading lies about me on the internet, what you're doing is harassment and I'm considering legal action. You're trying to ruin the happiest time of my life, and it says everything about your character." Legal action? Over a Reddit post. I almost laughed. I hadn't been the one to post it, but even if I had been, it's not illegal to share your own story online. Around this same time, about a month after the initial blow-up, I ran into Emma's mom, Patricia, at the grocery store. She looked stressed and exhausted. When she saw me, her eyes actually welled up with tears. She gave me a huge hug and said, "I miss seeing you around, sweetie. The house doesn't feel the same without you coming over." I asked how Emma was doing, and Patricia just shook her head. "She's not doing well. She's completely consumed by wedding planning, and she's pushing everyone away. She got into a huge fight with her sister last week because Lisa said she might not be able to come to the bachelorette party due to work. Emma told her if she couldn't prioritize family, then maybe she shouldn't come to the wedding at all." I was shocked. Emma and her sister Lisa, 25F, have always been close. I asked if Lisa was still in the wedding, and Patricia said, "For now, but barely. Emma keeps making these ultimatums with people. If you really cared about me, you'd do this. If you really loved me, you'd make this sacrifice. It's emotional manipulation, and it's destroying her relationships." Patricia grabbed my hand and said, "I know you and Emma aren't speaking, but I want you to know that I don't think any of this is your fault. You've always been a good friend to her. What she asked of you was unreasonable, and I told her that directly. She didn't want to hear it." I asked Patricia if she thought Emma would ever apologize, and she said honestly, "Not unless something major happens to snap her out of this. Right now she's convinced she's the victim, and everyone else is against her." That conversation left me feeling sad and frustrated. This was my best friend of 20 years, and she'd become someone I didn't even recognize. The drama continued when Jess called me with more updates from inside the bridal party. Apparently, Emma had implemented a bunch of new rules for the bridesmaids. They had to get spray tans exactly 1 week before the wedding from a specific salon. They weren't allowed to change their hair color between now and the wedding. They had to maintain their current weight. Emma literally told them no major weight fluctuations because the dresses were already fitted. Jess said, "I'm seriously considering dropping out too. This has stopped being fun and started being controlling and weird. She's micromanaging every aspect of our appearances." I told Jess she should do whatever felt right for her, but that I'd support her either way. She said she was going to stick it out because she felt bad for Emma, but that she wasn't happy about it. Then came the bachelorette party situation. Riley was planning it since she was now the maid of honor. The party was scheduled for early March, about 3 months before the wedding. Riley sent out a message to the remaining bridesmaids, Jess, Sarah, and Emma's sister Lisa, plus about 8 other friends, saying the bachelorette would be a weekend trip to Nashville. The estimated cost per person was $800, not including spending money for meals and activities. Several people said that was too expensive and asked if there could be a more budget-friendly option. Emma apparently told Riley to tell them, "If you can't afford it, just say so and you don't have to come. But this is what I want for my bachelorette." 3 people dropped out because of the cost. Emma was pissed and made several comments about people not valuing her friendship enough to invest in celebrating her. One of the girls who dropped out, Casey, 27F, sent me a long message. I'm a teacher making $42K a year. I cannot justify spending almost $1,000 on a weekend trip right now, especially when I'm already spending $400 on the bridesmaid dress, $400 on hair and makeup, $150 on the bridal shower gift, and $200 on the wedding gift. Emma's acting like I'm personally attacking her by having a budget. This is insane. I felt so validated hearing that other people were also struggling with Emma's expectations and financial demands. Around mid-February, about 2.5 months after the initial conflict, my casual boyfriend David and I decided to make things official. He asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. I was really happy and excited about it. I posted a cute photo of us together on Instagram with a caption about being official. Emma must have been stalking my social media because within an hour she'd blocked me on everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even LinkedIn. But before she blocked me, she sent one final message. I see you've moved on pretty quickly. I guess our 20-year friendship meant nothing to you. I hope he was worth losing me over. Don't bother reaching out anymore. We're done. I showed the message to David and he was confused. Why is she acting like you chose me over her? This is about hair, right? I tried to explain the whole situation to him, and he just looked at me like Emma was crazy. He said, "So let me get this straight. She demanded you cut off over a foot of hair for her wedding photos, kicked you out when you said no, spread lies about you, and is now acting like you're the one who ended the friendship? That's genuinely unhinged." Hearing it summarized like that made me realize how absolutely absurd the entire situation was. My sister threw me a little official relationship celebration dinner at her house in late February. My parents were there. David's parents even came to meet my family, and a few of my close friends showed up. It was really sweet and intimate. My mom took a photo of everyone at the dinner table and I posted it on Facebook, thanking everyone for celebrating with us. Apparently, someone who was friends with both me and Emma on Facebook screenshot my post and sent it to Emma. According to Monica, who was still in the wedding group chat, Emma had a complete meltdown. She wrote in the group, "So she's over here celebrating her new relationship and posting happy family photos while I'm planning my wedding without my maid of honor. She's moved on like our friendship never existed. I can't believe how heartless some people are." Riley responded, "Focus on your own happiness, babe. Your wedding is going to be amazing and you don't need negative energy around you." Jess told me later that she almost left the group chat right then and there because she was so fed up with Emma playing the victim. In early March, the bachelorette party happened in Nashville. I obviously wasn't there, but I heard about it from multiple sources. Apparently, Emma got drunk on the first night and started crying about how I abandoned her. She told everyone that I was her best friend since childhood, and she couldn't believe I'd chosen vanity over her happiness. Jess was there, and she actually spoke up. She said, "Emma, you asked her to cut off like 1.5 feet of hair. That's not a small request. Can you honestly say you'd cut your hair if someone demanded it?" Emma apparently got defensive and said, "That's different. It's my wedding. The bride gets to have what she wants on her wedding day." Jess replied, "The bride gets to have what she wants for her own choices, her dress, the venue, the flowers. But she doesn't get to dictate other people's bodies." According to both Jess and another friend who was there, Emma started crying harder and said Jess was ganging up on her and taking sides. The rest of the night was super awkward. Several people told me it was one of the most uncomfortable bachelorette parties they'd ever been to. After the Nashville trip, Jess officially dropped out of the wedding. She sent Emma a message saying, "I love you, but I can't be part of this wedding anymore. The expectations and the drama have become too much, and I don't feel comfortable standing up there when I fundamentally disagree with how you've handled things." Emma's response was brutal. She wrote, "You were never really my friend. You were just pretending this whole time. I should have known you'd side with her over me. You're both toxic, and I'm better off without either of you." So now Emma had lost her original maid of honor, me, and 2 other bridesmaids, Monica and Jess. She was down to just Riley, Sarah, and her sister Lisa. From what I heard, she ended up asking 2 random acquaintances to fill in as bridesmaids, so she'd have 5 like she originally planned. My friend group essentially split down the middle. Some people stayed loyal to Emma, believing her version of events or just wanting to avoid drama. Others saw what was really happening and either pulled back from Emma or actively supported me. David met some of my friends during this time, and he made an interesting observation. He said, "It seems like the people defending Emma are either in the wedding and feel trapped, or they're the type who think brides should get whatever they want no matter what. The people on your side are the ones with common sense." That actually was pretty accurate. It's now late March, and the wedding is just over 2 months away. Emma and I haven't spoken in over 3 months. I'm not invited to the wedding. Or rather, I never got uninvited officially, but there's obviously no way I'm going. I've started to really process the loss of this friendship. Some days I'm angry at Emma for how she treated me. Other days I'm sad about losing someone who was such a huge part of my life for so long. And occasionally, I wonder if I should have just cut my hair to avoid all of this pain and drama. But then I look in the mirror at my long hair that I've worked so hard to grow and maintain, and I remember that this isn't really about hair at all. It's about respect, boundaries, and whether someone truly values you as a person or just as an accessory to their life events. It's now late May, and the wedding is less than 3 weeks away. I honestly thought I'd moved on from all the Emma drama, but life had other plans. 2 weeks ago, I was at brunch with David and some friends when I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. It was Emma's sister Lisa. Lisa was crying. She said, "I know you and Emma aren't talking, but I need someone to talk to, and you're the only person who might understand. I can't do this anymore. Emma's completely out of control, and I feel like I'm losing my mind." I stepped outside the restaurant to take the call. Lisa told me that Emma had a full meltdown the night before because Lisa had gotten a small tattoo on her ankle, just a tiny, delicate flower, maybe an inch across. Emma saw it and screamed at Lisa that she was ruining the wedding aesthetic and that she'd have to cover it with heavy makeup or wear different shoes that would hide it. Lisa said through tears, "It's my body. It's a tiny tattoo. And she's acting like I committed a crime. I've bent over backwards for this wedding. I've spent thousands of dollars. I've dealt with her mood swings. I've listened to her trash talk people constantly. And this is how she treats me? Her own sister?" I felt so sad for Lisa. I told her I completely understood and that what Emma was doing wasn't okay. Lisa then said something that really stuck with me. "You were right to get out when you did. I wish I'd had the courage to do the same thing. Now I'm stuck because she's my sister, and my whole family would be furious if I backed out this close to the wedding." We talked for almost 40 minutes. Lisa told me more stories about Emma's behavior, how she'd made their mom cry multiple times over not being supportive enough, how she'd uninvited their dad's sister to the wedding over a Facebook comment she didn't like, how she'd threatened to cancel the whole wedding at least 5 times whenever things didn't go exactly her way. Lisa also told me something I didn't know. Apparently, Jake had tried to break up with Emma about a month ago. He told her he couldn't marry someone who treated people the way she'd been treating them, and that he wanted to postpone the wedding until they could work through things. Emma completely broke down, promised she'd change, begged him not to leave, and told him if he left her now, she'd never recover. Jake stayed, but according to Lisa, things between them have been tense ever since. That phone call with Lisa really affected me. Part of me felt validated. Other people were seeing what I'd been seeing all along. But another part of me just felt deeply sad. This was supposed to be a happy time for Emma, and instead, she'd turned it into a nightmare for herself and everyone around her. 3 days after Lisa called me, something completely unexpected happened. I was at work when I got an email from Emma. The subject line said, "I need to talk to you." My heart started racing. I debated whether to even open it, but curiosity won. The email was long, like really long. Emma wrote, "I don't know if you'll even read this, but I need to say some things. Jake and I have been in couples therapy for the past month because he threatened to call off the wedding. The therapist asked me to make a list of all the relationships I've damaged during wedding planning, and your name was at the top of the list. She's been making me examine my behavior and why I've been so controlling about everything. I've realized some really hard truths about myself. I think I've been terrified that if everything isn't perfect, people will judge me or think less of me. I've been putting all this pressure on myself to have this picture-perfect wedding, and in the process, I've become someone I don't recognize. I'm not writing this to ask you to forgive me or to be in my wedding. I know I've burned that bridge, but I need you to know that I was wrong. What I asked of you with your hair was completely unreasonable and controlling. You were right to say no, and you were right to walk away. I'm sorry for how I treated you. I'm sorry for the things I said about you to other people. I'm sorry for making your hair, which is beautiful and part of who you are, into a problem that needed to be fixed. You deserved so much better from me. The truth is, I think I was jealous. Not of Jake, like I accused you of, but of you. You've always been so confident in who you are. You don't change yourself to please other people. You set boundaries and stick to them. Those are all things I wish I could do. Instead, I tried to control you because I couldn't control my own insecurity. I don't expect you to respond to this. I just needed you to know that you didn't do anything wrong. I did. I'm working on myself in therapy, but I know that doesn't undo the hurt I've caused. I miss you. I miss my best friend. But I understand if that friendship is gone forever. I'm sorry. I must have read that email 10 times. I didn't know what to feel. Angry? Relieved? Sad? All of the above? I showed it to David, to my sister, to my mom. Everyone had different reactions. David said, "It sounds sincere, but it's also very late. The damage is done." My sister said, "She's only apologizing because her fiancé almost left her and a therapist told her to. Where was this self-awareness 3 months ago?" My mom said, "People make mistakes. If she's genuinely trying to change, maybe that's worth something." I sat with the email for 2 days before I responded. I wrote back, "Emma, thank you for your email. I appreciate the apology, and I believe that you're working on yourself. That takes courage. But I need to be honest with you. What happened between us wasn't just about the hair. It was about how quickly you were willing to throw away our friendship when I didn't comply with what you wanted. It was about the lies you told people about me. It was about the way you made me feel like I was crazy for having boundaries. An apology is a good first step, but it doesn't erase the hurt or immediately rebuild trust. I don't know if our friendship can be repaired. Maybe someday, but not right now. The wound is too fresh. I hope your wedding day is beautiful and that you and Jake are happy together. I hope therapy helps you find peace with yourself. But I need space and time to heal from all of this. I wish you well, but I'm not ready to be your friend again right now. I sent it before I could overthink it. Emma responded within an hour with just, "I understand. Thank you for responding. I'm truly sorry." And that was it. No more emails, no more messages. Last week, Emma's mom, Patricia, called me again. She said Emma had told her about the email exchange and that Emma was doing a lot of crying and soul-searching. Patricia said, "I don't know if you'll ever be friends with Emma again, and I wouldn't blame you if you weren't. But I want you to know that I see the changes she's trying to make. She's in therapy twice a week now. She's apologized to her sister, to the bridesmaids she pushed out, even to some extended family members she was rude to. She's trying." I told Patricia I was glad Emma was getting help, but that I still needed space. Patricia said she understood completely and that she just wanted me to know that Emma's apology was genuine, not just words. The wedding is this coming Saturday. I'm obviously not going. David and I are actually taking a weekend trip to the coast, getting as far away from all the wedding drama as possible. I turned off my social media notifications so I won't see any wedding posts or photos. Part of me wonders how the day will go. Will Emma have the perfect wedding she wanted so badly? Will she and Jake actually make it down the aisle after all the turmoil? Will the aesthetic be everything she dreamed of now that all her bridesmaids have the right length hair? But honestly, those questions don't consume me the way they might have a few months ago. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on this whole situation, and here's what I've realized. Emma was wrong to ask me to cut my hair. That's non-negotiable. You don't ask people to permanently alter their physical appearance for your event, no matter how important that event is to you. But I also think Emma was drowning in expectation and pressure. Some of it external, but most of it internal. She tied her entire self-worth to having this perfect wedding, and when reality didn't match her fantasy, she lashed out at anyone who threatened that vision. Does that excuse her behavior? Absolutely not. But it does help me understand it. I've also realized that this friendship might have run its course regardless of the wedding. Looking back, I can see patterns of Emma needing to be the center of attention, of her struggling when others got praised or celebrated, of her difficulty accepting when things didn't go her way. The wedding just amplified all of those traits to an extreme level. Some people have asked me if I regret not just cutting my hair to preserve the friendship. The answer is no. Because if I had cut it, what would have been next? If Emma learned that she could control major aspects of my life and my body by threatening our friendship, where would that boundary pushing have stopped? Sometimes saying no to someone is the kindest thing you can do, both for yourself and for them. Do I miss Emma? Yes. I miss the Emma I thought I knew, the girl I grew up with. The one who used to stay up all night with me talking about our dreams, the one who held my hand at my grandmother's funeral, the one who celebrated every small victory in my life like it was her own. But I'm not sure that person exists anymore, or if maybe she never existed the way I thought she did. I've also learned something important through all of this. True friends don't ask you to diminish yourself to make them shine brighter. True friends celebrate who you are, not try to mold you into who they need you to be for their own purposes. my relationship with David has actually gotten stronger through all of this. He's seen me at my most upset, most angry, most confused, and he's been nothing but supportive. He's never once suggested that I should just get over it, or take the high road, or any of the other dismissive things people sometimes say when you're dealing with friend drama. My other friendships have gotten stronger too. Monica and Jess and I have gotten much closer through this whole experience. We've joked about starting a Survived Emma's Wedding support group. Gallows humor, but it helps. As for Emma, I genuinely hope she continues with therapy and works on her issues. I hope her marriage to Jake is healthy and happy. I hope she learns to find her self-worth from internal sources rather than external validation. I hope she treats her future friends better than she treated me, but I also know that her growth isn't my responsibility. I gave 20 years to that friendship. I gave emotional support, time, energy, love, loyalty. I would have given her anything she asked for, except the things that would have fundamentally changed who I am. And that, apparently, was where we couldn't meet in the middle. So here's what I keep coming back to. Did I make the right choice? Everyone keeps asking me that. Friends, family, even people online who've somehow heard about this situation. Should you have just cut your hair? Was it really worth losing a 20-year friendship? Don't you think you're being a little dramatic about hair? And here's my answer. It was never about the hair. It was about respect. It was about boundaries. It was about whether I was willing to literally cut off pieces of myself, physically and metaphorically, to fit into someone else's vision of perfection. I chose myself. I chose my autonomy. I chose to say that my body is not negotiable, even for someone I love. And yes, it cost me a friendship. But what would it have cost me to say yes? My self-respect? My sense of self? The knowledge that I can stand up for myself when it matters? Those are prices I wasn't willing to pay. I look at my reflection now, my long auburn hair that falls past my shoulders, hair that's taken years to grow and maintain, and I don't feel regret. I feel proud. Proud that I stood my ground. Proud that I didn't let someone else's insecurity become my problem to solve. Proud that I recognized when a friendship had become toxic and had the strength to walk away. Would it have been easier to just cut it? Maybe. But easier isn't always better. And sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that honor who we really are. So, no, I'm not the villain in this story. Neither is Emma, really. She's just someone who lost herself in the pressure of perfection and took others down with her in the process. Sometimes there are no villains, just people who couldn't find a way to respect each other's boundaries. The wedding is in 5 days. I'll be at the beach with my boyfriend, my phone on silent, living my life with my long hair blowing in the ocean breeze. And honestly, I think that's exactly where I'm supposed to be. So now I'm asking you, rate this situation on a scale of 0 to 10. Was I in the wrong? Should I have sacrificed my hair for my best friend's wedding? Drop your rating and your thoughts in the comments below. And if you made it through this whole saga, thank you for listening. Hit that like button and subscribe to Who's the Villain? AITA for more stories like this. I really want to hear what you all think.